on this promising phase of our journey to a true and lasting democracy.
Back in the United States, the District of Columbia is one step closer to getting representation in the U.S. House. On Wednesday, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted 11-1 to support the D.C. Housing Voting Rights Bill. Senator John McCain was the sole opposing vote. The bill would permanently expand the 435-member House by 2 seats. 1 seat would go to Washington, D.C., and the other to Utah. In other news from Capitol Hill, the Senate's confirmed William Lynch to be Deputy Defense Secretary. Lynn's a former top lobbyist for the military contractor Raytheon. In his new post, Lynch will be in charge of day-to-day operations at the Pentagon. Senate committees also voted Wednesday to support the nominations of Leon Panetta to head the CIA and Congresswoman Hilda Solis to become Labor Secretary. President Obama is expected to soon nominate Seattle Police Chief Gil Kierlikowski to be the nation's new drug czar. Meanwhile, a commission led by 3 former Latin American heads of state has blasted the U.S.-led drug war for pushing Latin American societies to the breaking point. Former Brazilian President Fernando Henrique Cardoso said, quote, "The available evidence indicates that the war on drugs is a failed war." The Wall Street Journal reports the Commission's report warned the U.S.-style anti-drug strategy was putting the region's fragile democratic institutions at risk. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez says his government has arrested some active-duty soldiers believed to be plotting a coup. In a television interview, Chavez said, quote, "We've arrested some active-duty soldiers who were in contact with a soldier on the run in the United States, sending messages about a so-called Operation Independence." The alleged coup attempt comes days ahead of a Sunday referendum on constitutional reform to lift term limits for the president and all elected officials. Newly released data shows New York City police officers made a record 530,000 stop-and-frisks last year. The city's data shows over 80% of the people stopped and frisked were Black or Latino. Only about 10% of stops were of whites, who comprise 44% of the city's population. Last year, the Center for Constitutional Rights sued the city, charging it as a policy of conducting unconstitutional stop-and-frisks and singles out ethnic minorities. Meanwhile, in California, the Fresno Police Department has launched an internal investigation after a video was aired showing 2 Fresno police officers beating a homeless man. The video shows a police officer hitting the homeless man 4 times in the face while he was restrained on the ground. The Board of Trustees at Hampshire College has agreed to divest from 6 companies because of their involvement in the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. Hampshire is believed to be the first U.S. college or university to divest from companies tied to the Israeli military. The companies are Caterpillar, where President Obama will visit today, United Technologies, General Electric, ITT Corporation, Motorola, and Terex. The board agreed to the divestment following a 2-year campaign by the campus group Students for Justice in Palestine. 32 years ago, Hampshire College became the first school to divest from apartheid South Africa. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.